Welcome back to our writing series. Today we are going to finish writing the essay that we began a few weeks ago. So we'll be focusing on writing the concluding paragraph in today's episode. Now remember, if you are writing an essay for the CAEL test specifically, all of the details that you will be writing about in your essay will come from the source material on the test itself. So namely the reading and listening passages. Well, we're writing this essay in order to learn proper structure. We're writing about our own educational experiences, and we are drawing on our own personal experiences in order to support those ideas. Now, just as we get going here with our concluding paragraph, I wanted to take one more quick review period just to look at what we've done in the weeks leading up to this so that the entire essay makes sense. So here's the question then that we've been working on. So we are trying to identify some strengths of our own high school education. Now on the CAEL test, in part 4, when you write your essay, you're going to be asked to write a minimum of 250 words, and you'll have 35 minutes to complete the essay. So we'll just keep that in the back of our minds as we're writing today. So here's the outline that we put together a couple of weeks ago. It clearly shows our topic, so we know that we're writing about strengths of high school, and we're writing specifically on how extracurricular activities and being taught by knowledgeable teachers were two examples of strengths. So we've written our introductory paragraph already where we stated that thesis. We identified these two areas then as strengths of our own high school. So that's done. We've also already written our first body paragraph. So this is where we actually identified some of the extracurricular clubs that we belong to, and we noted the skills that we learned there and established those as strengths as well. And just last week, we completed our second body paragraph, where we identified some teachers who instructed us with very valuable skills, and we showed how those skills continue to support us today so that they are indeed strengths. So these 3 paragraphs have already been written. If you've not yet seen the previous episodes for this series, I strongly encourage you to pause this video now and go back and read through so that you can follow along as we add on today. Now, before we actually write the conclusion, to summarize all of the details that we've just written about, we need to make sure that the paragraphs blend smoothly together. So what we see here on the screen is the thesis statement, the final sentence of our introductory paragraph, and that's in the top blue rectangle. And below that then is the first sentence from the next paragraph. So I'm just going to read out loud these 2 sentences because they're going to be positioned directly side by side in the final copy of the essay. So we're double checking now to see that the content flows smoothly together. We want to make sure that the transitions are there. So here we go. It says, I was fortunate to participate in many extracurricular activities and received instruction from knowledgeable teachers. These opportunities taught me invaluable skills that continue to strengthen my personal and professional life. Participating in a wide variety of extracurricular activities during high school enriched my educational experience and shaped me into the person that I am today. I think that will work. I think that flows quite nicely from one paragraph into the next. So in yellow here, I've highlighted sort of the overriding idea that I'm talking about. So the fact that we are participating in these extracurricular activities. So I've mentioned that in both cases here. And I'm also focusing on how this is a strength. So in my thesis statement up top, I've noted this as invaluable skills that strengthen my personal and professional life. And then in my next paragraph, in my topic sentence, I've just rephrased that. I've said that these activities enrich my educational experience to shape me into who I am. So the content is the same. I just used different words to express that. So that's looking good. I like the coherence and I like my word choice. So I think that my first paragraph into my second paragraph flows quite nicely, and I'm not going to change anything. So let's continue with this pattern then. Let's have a look then at the final sentence in that first body paragraph about those extracurricular clubs. And we'll see how it flows into the beginning of my next paragraph, where I introduce the knowledgeable teachers. So this is what we have so far. I'll read out loud now. Participating in numerous after-school activities during high school established and strengthened my current life skills and values that continue to serve me positively, both personally and professionally. I recall several high school teachers whose knowledgeable instruction helped develop my personal and professional skills. Some things work with these two sentences being side by side in the essay. So at least my idea is the same. I'm really focusing on how these are positive skills, and that's what I want to do. My entire essay talks about the strengths. So these yellow phrases show that. My language illustrates that clearly, I feel. I'm not as happy though with these two phrases. I've used almost the same words very close together within the essay itself. So when I say personally and professionally in that first paragraph, and then personal and professional skills right below that, I feel it's a little bit too repetitive. So I'm going to want to rewrite one of those phrases just to change up the language a little bit. And more troubling is that I don't have any transition between those two paragraphs. It seems too choppy. So I'm going to want to add a phrase, so even a half of the sentence if I want to start that second paragraph so these ideas connect more obviously. So let's rewrite this phrase first. I think that's the easier correction to make. I'm going to leave the top paragraph alone. And in the bottom paragraph, I'll reword it like this. So now I'll mention that the knowledgeable instruction supported skill development and encouraged success. So I feel that that gets across the idea of skills being developed personally and professionally. So I like that better. I'll leave that alone now. And the last little revision I'm going to make here is to write the transitional phrase to start this second paragraph. So remember, up top, I've just finished talking about these extracurricular activities. So in my new paragraph at the bottom here, I'll mention that first, and then I'll bring it around to my new idea with the teachers. So now I'm going to try. Belonging to extracurricular clubs was not the only strength that I value from my high school years. I also recall several high school teachers, and I continue on from there. So sometimes just adding one sentence or even a half a sentence is all you need to do to connect your ideas more smoothly. So this is really helping to organize my thoughts and will support my coherence. And the raters will like that if you're being graded on a test. So I'm happy then with my second paragraph into my third. So now it's time to write our concluding paragraph. We're going to summarize then the ideas that we've already talked about. So here's our question again. We have to make sure we're still focusing on the strengths of our high school education. And how do we begin then the concluding statement without repeating over and over what we've already talked about? Well, I think for this conclusion, we're going to keep it nice and short and simple. Remember, if you're writing on a test, you've got a time limit to worry about. So I don't have tons of time to write a very long conclusion here, pretending we're doing this for a test. So I'm just going to make a general statement then about high school experience. And because I need to focus on strengths, I'm going to connect that into how it was an enjoyable experience for me. Now, I took this approach when I wrote my introductory paragraph. So I'm going to sort of summarize those same ideas, but I'm just going to use different language here in my final paragraph. So this might be a good attempt. Let's try this. Navigating the awkward teenage years while completing one's high school education is not without its challenges, but when I reflect on my own experiences at Laurentian Secondary School, it's the positive memories that come to mind. Okay, I'll leave that for now. I might make a couple of changes, but I'll leave it for now. The important piece in my conclusion is to restate the thesis, to summarize those two strengths. So namely the extracurricular clubs and those knowledgeable teachers. So I'll try this. This is the green sentence. Participating in after-school clubs and receiving quality instruction from skilled teachers gave me the skills that have supported my personal and professional growth. Okay, so I've got two longer sentences here for my concluding statement. This is acceptable on the CAEL test. If you were writing a report for a university class, you'd probably have a longer conclusion. But with the CAEL test in mind, let's go with this nice, short, and concise conclusion. As I do a quick read through, I like my ideas, but there are always some changes I can make to improve the writing overall. So these yellow highlighted phrases represent some word choice errors that I'm going to fix up just to make it a bit higher level. And I noticed there that I've got a repetition. Do you see the two words in green? I've used the word skilled and skills very close together. So I'm just going to rewrite that to avoid repeating myself. The first correction's easy. I've gone from an it's to an it is. Right? In academic writing, we don't want to use contractions. It's better to write the full form. So that's a really quick fix. My next revision here is more to do with the academic tone. When I say that positive memories come to mind, it's a bit casual. So I think I should rewrite that just to make it a little more academic or precise. So I'll just say that these positive memories are ones that I recall. I like that better. I could leave this with participating in after-school clubs. I could leave it like that, but I still think that this wording is a little bit higher level. So I'm going to go back to extracurricular activities. And I feel like I have enough space between the times I've used this phrase on my essay, so it doesn't sound overly repetitive. I haven't just mentioned that phrase earlier in this one paragraph, for example. Okay, so let's see what we can do about this repetition. I've got skilled teachers there, and you know, another word for skilled teachers is talented teachers. So that's easy. I'll just change that one word and I'll leave skills in the next part of that sentence. So now I've got a variety of words. And I've mentioned here that the instruction I received from talented teachers gave me the skills, gave me valuable skills. That's a stronger connection back to the question, which was strengths of high school. So it gave me valuable skills that have supported, you know what? These skills continue to support me today. That's also a better connection to this idea of strengths. It's a lifelong learning process. So I'll just change my verb tense, that's all, or verb form. So I have valuable skills that continue to support my personal and professional growth. So I'm happier now with this revised version of my concluding paragraph, so we'll leave it alone. So we've now completed the essay. We have 4 paragraphs, and I'm going to show you how it looks when you fit them together. So this is what would be submitted if this were an assignment I was handing in class at university or college, or perhaps submitting it on an online test like the CAEL. So I can't fit all 4 paragraphs on one screen here. So I'll just show you the introductory paragraph and the first body paragraph. You'll notice the length there. The introductory paragraph is short. The body paragraph will be longer, specifically for CAEL because of the time. This is my second body paragraph, which is a bit longer still, and then a nice short concluding paragraph there as well. Now, remember on your CAEL test, you were asked to write a minimum of 250 words. This essay is actually quite a bit longer. This essay's word count is over 400 words. Some of us might have the ability to write such a long essay in the 35 minutes allotted for CAEL. As long as you can support your details and you've stayed on topic, it's fine. In CAEL, you would not be penalized for going over the word count. Some of us, though, might not have the time in 35 minutes to create such a lengthy piece. So just be mindful of that. Keep an eye on the time as you're writing, and you're going to have to be flexible. You know, you might only have time for 2 details in each of those body paragraphs, for example. Your primary goal is to structure your essay properly, answer the question and support it very well, but you also need to finish it within a time frame if this were on a test. So we are finished with essay writing for the time being. We can be proud of the work that we've accomplished these past weeks. Next week, we'll begin a new series, this time focusing on reading skills. Join me then.